I've helped countless players rank up out of bronze into silver. I've coached platinum players into diamond, grandmaster players who were stuck, got them into celestial players into eternity. I've created all kinds of guides, from aim training tips to breaking down different team comps, breaking down hero specific animation cancels, when to ult, when to hold your ult, when to turn around and peel for your team, when to be aggressive. But that's a lot for a bronze player to try to process. We're going to try to make this 3rd grade easy on how to simply go from bronze to silver. This is going to be the ultimate video on how to go from bronze to silver, because what we're going to talk about is specifically how do you go from bronze, assuming your skill level is around there, into silver. What do you actually need to do for every single role? How do you play and manage playing with teammates who are suboptimal, people who disconnect? How do you ever overcome those odds? How do you overcome smurfs in your lobbies, people who are pros who are in bronze lobbies? How do you compete? How do you actually rank up? Well, howdy doody everyone, it's Prophet here. So I want to make this video, this series, where I'm going to tell you how to go from bronze to silver, and then the next one hopefully will be silver into gold, from gold to platinum, and so on. I want to make this like a Udemy kind of styled education. It's going to be a little bit more raw, a little bit less fancy edits to hold your attention and all of that. I want you guys to actually rank up. This is stuff you would normally pay for, and you're not going to have to pay for it here. One of the reasons why I wanted to make this channel was a couple of reasons. One, I wanted to share the gospel, but two, I also wanted to help people get better at something that I'm also passionate about. And I'm passionate about gaming, and I'm passionate about self-improvement, not just in video games, but like in life in general. How do I get stronger? How do I get smarter? How do I learn to learn? How do I approach something like that? How do I get better at talking to people? How do I get better at all kinds of things? And that's what I want for you guys. And I wish that someone made a video like this when I first started playing Marvel Rivals, when I first started playing Fortnite, when I first started playing Destiny, or whatever game you want to plug in there. So, and something I want to share up front right away is going to be, you need to put in a lot of work, more than what you think, to get to silver, because you hear from your favorite streamers all the time, or you see it on the TikToks and the shorts and all of that, where, oh my goodness, like this is such a bronze technique. Like, can you break down and articulate why this is such a bronze thing? Because coming from a bronze player, if you have that mindset and you're stuck in bronze, okay, what do I do about that? Or how do I look at my own gameplay and dissect it? I don't have a pro levels mind game connection here. I don't have that game sense. What do I specifically need to do with the role that I am playing with these other bronze players? I see my favorite streamers and they're playing with other top 500 streamers. I'm not playing with top 500 streamers. I'm playing with some of my best friends and they're barely in bronze. That's being generous too. So I'm going to say another thing too. Don't get lost in the sauce. So a lot of people, when they make it this far, so you're already in YouTube and you're looking up these guides, or maybe it came across your feed, that's awesome. Don't get lost in the sauce. If you watch 10 different people tell you how to get out of bronze and into silver, even though they're not going to specifically lay it out like that, you're going to get 10 different answers. They're going to be all kinds of different tidbits thrown out, suggestions, ways to approach the game. And a lot of them are going to be good. It's just going to be insurmountable and practically impossible for you to actually implement all of those steps, and you're going to get to the point where you're kind of like, I'm just going to try my best and hopefully I get better. And that's what the vast majority of people do, and that's why a lot of people are in bronze, because you just get overwhelmed and you're like, whatever, I'm just going to play the game, right? So in true learning fashion here, let's kind of break down bronze. Bronze is one of the trickiest areas to actually help coach how to get out of, because, and this isn't being mean or derogatory, it's just, it is what it is. With bronze, the skill floor is potentially 0. Like literally you set an orange in front of a TV or a monitor, and that's the skill level you might be working with. Like it's your very first game that you're playing. Like you've never played any shooter games before, no video games, nothing. You don't know how the camera works at all that. Any of us gamers know, like whenever you can tell, it's always a telltale sign whenever you see someone who's new to gaming and you know they're not really using the camera appropriately. You're like, oh, they don't really game. That's one reason. So there might be some people in bronze 3 who are watching this right now, and that might be you, and that's okay. There also might be some people watching this where maybe you're in bronze 2 or bronze 1, or heck, maybe you've even climbed to silver or gold or diamond or something, and you're watching this video anyway just to see if there's different tidbits you can pick up. Hopefully there will be some, and just like probably more game sense type stuff and how you mentally approach the game. Hopefully that'll be helpful. But bronze 3 in particular is really challenging because, again, you might be brand new to gaming. And here's the good news about this. Take a look at how many hours you have in the game. You can go into your settings and find out your play time for this particular season or whenever you pick the game up from. If you don't have hundreds, and I'm not exaggerating, if you don't have hundreds of hours in this game yet, don't worry about being stuck in bronze. Like, yes, there will be other players who played for like 10 hours and they made it to a certain rank and it looks really impressive, and they'll say, wow, this is my first time ever gaming, haha, or wow, I just got a keyboard and mouse for the first time, look at me, I just hit Celestial, you know, and I only played for one day. And you're gonna see all kinds of stuff like that where honestly half the time they're lying anyway. And then number 2, who cares? It's not you. Worry about yourself. And then also know the vast majority of people that I work with, and they're in Platinum or Diamond or Celestial or whatever the case, all of them have hundreds of hours in this game. Some of them have approached over 1,000 hours. And that's going to be one of the very first things that I'm going to mention here. Again, there are countless ways that we can go about how do you actually get out of bronze. But one thing to know up front is simply play the game more. I'm not saying to play for 10 hours every day. You don't need to do that. But you do need to play the game more if you want to improve at it. And be deliberate with your playtime. Don't just play 10 hours on a Saturday. The majority of that is going to be suboptimal gameplay. There's a lot of science around how when you can get real focused workout, it's like 3-4 hours or so. It depends on the person and what your cognitive state is currently in. How much rest did you get? How strong are you as an individual of being able to hold that focus? Do you have any other distractions going on in your life? Is there anything else distracting right then in that moment as well? Like, if you really think about it, and if you were to game and grind it out for 8 hours straight on a Saturday, how much of that are you actively super locked in? You're not, is what I'm trying to get to. And for bronze, we're not even suggesting that you play 3 to 4 hours. That's overkill for bronze. Now, feel free to play 3 to 4 hours. Just don't expect that to be focused work all the time. Don't make this a job. The whole reason you picked up the game, presumably, so you could just have fun and enjoy yourself and hopefully get a little bit of improvement along the way. What I would suggest, here's the action step here, is to work on playing more consistently rather than just dumping in a handful of hours over the weekend, which is what a lot of you are probably doing. I would urge you to consider playing like a half hour a day on average and try to make that about every day or so. Consistency is the key here. Consistency day over day. So you get more consistent reps in and you get to download that information in your noggin overnight, and then you get to synthesize it, and then you get to re-engage and fire off those particular neurons again in the next session, and the next session, and the next day, and the next day. Ooh, look at that smooth transition. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to subscribe to get more videos just like this. And when, not if, but when you get out of bronze into silver, hopefully by then we'll have the next how to move from silver into gold video up at that point, or we will shortly thereafter. That's the goal. Back to the video. And now let's talk about settings super quick. A lot of you might be thinking, okay, I'm on controller or I'm on keyboard and mouse. What kind of sense do I need? Look up any of your favorite streamers or Google whatever kind of sense that you want to work with. Here's the deal about all of that. Some of the best teachers I have ever had were incredibly pragmatic and broke down the question that was being asked that was right in front of them. For example, if I was trying to learn, I don't know, whatever it was, trigonometry, or I'm breaking down a particular section in a book or whatever. It doesn't matter what the subject is or whatever it is that you were trying to understand. The best teachers that I had the pleasure of working with always broke down that scenario. And what I mean by that is they didn't give like, oh, well, so in theory, here's an irrelevant tangent that we're going to talk about, and here's how it kind of overlays onto this and how it applies, and this is why we're coming up with this, and this is why we're approaching the problem like that. That's abstract. A lot of that is nonsense for what we're trying to accomplish with this particular series, with this particular video, which is how do I get from bronze to silver? And that's it. I promise It's not going to be the difference of you being on 800 DPI or 1600 DPI. All of that minutia can help a little bit, and I promise you're going to be figuring that stuff out as you go along and building different preferences and habits. Now, I'm going to link my aim guide video at the top here where I do break down settings that you can get into a little bit more. It's like I don't know, it's not much longer than a 10-minute video. Watch that video if you want to know a little bit more, but do not get lost in the sauce and just make improvement. If, and this won't apply to all of you, if you're in Bronze 2 or if you're in Bronze 1, you've already shown that you can climb a little bit in this game. That means that your sensitivity is good enough. If you've made it to Bronze 2, I promise you can get to Silver without changing your sensitivity settings. I promise. There are different audio cues that you can add to. I believe that's in the aim guide video as well, and if it's not, I know I at least reference it in that video as well. So you can have like an audio cue pop up for whenever a teammate dies. That's super helpful. Now you know, oh hey, my Luna Snow behind me, she just died. Maybe we want to pull off for a second here. And again, real quick before we move on, I just want to make sure we have absolute closure on this here. Just really zoomed out. If you're in Bronze 3 and you have not gotten out of Bronze 3 yet, there's more that we need to work on, and a lot of that is just going to come down to time. Take a good hard look in the mirror and look at what is your playtime. Look on Steam, look on your PlayStation or whatever it is that you're playing on. How many hours do you have in the game so you have a somewhat vague idea of where you're sitting, and then you can work from there. Again, if you don't have hundreds of hours in this game, don't worry about, man, I really feel like I should be in gold at this point. Now, why does it feel impossible to get out of Bronze? I promise you can be a top 500 player, and Bronze is a nightmare to get through because you have people who are actively throwing, you have people who are trying new heroes for the very first time. They didn't even boot them up in quick play or read what their abilities did before they launched. People just do that kind of stuff. So when you're in Bronze 3, you're dealing with all of that. It's like quick play on steroids because about half of the people on both sides are actually trying to play as good as they can for whatever skill set they have, and the skill sets vary widely. You have different content creators who are doing Bronze to Grandmaster and Bronze to Celestial Series, and you have different people who are just making alt accounts to play with their friends or to boost people, which is not allowed by the game, by the way, so don't do that. But you're going to be encountering all those kind of players who have no business being in Bronze. You're going to have people who played Valorant for 10 years and they were semi-pro or whatever, and they're playing something like Marvel Rivals now, where not all of that skill transfers over, but a lot of it does. Just basic game sense, basic aim skills, all of that transfers over more so than someone like you who might have only played some sort of those little scrolling Mario games on your phone before. So you're playing against Smurfs, you're playing against professionals, you're playing against people who were in Platinum who just didn't play for a season and a half or whatever the case. That's why it feels so difficult, and that's why often in Bronze in particular, you have those, you're rolling the team or they're rolling you. You have that all the time because the skill sets just vary widely. Now, another thing would be your mindset. Worry about you. And I talk about this in all my other videos as well, but worry about you. Don't worry about your 8 and 11 Moon Knight. Don't worry about your 0 and 7 Luna behind you. She's not really supposed to be getting all of the kills on your team anyway. Yes, she should be stepping up front and being a little bit more aggressive some of the time whenever you don't need heals all the time. That's a different discussion though. We don't need to worry about that in this rank. Worry about yourself. If you're playing Iron Man, are you getting picks for your team? Are you actively staying out of danger, out of harm's way? Are you making sure that you're not getting shot down by the enemy hella every single second? If you're the Hulk on your team, are you bubbling your team at the right opportunities? You're probably not really even thinking about that other than selfishly for yourself. Start thinking about how can you bolster not only your own playstyle, but how can you bolster your teammates around you? How can you set them up for success? Okay, and now we don't need this to be a 3-hour-long video on how to get from Bronze to Silver. I mean, we could stretch it out to something like that, but again, I want to make this as pragmatic as possible. So we're going to look at this duelist here, and this is going to apply from Bronze 3 to Bronze 2, into Bronze 1, into Silver, honestly all the way through Silver, and probably even Gold too. But what I want you to look at is player number 7 here. These are real people, by the way. I picked a random Bronze game that we're looking at. One thing that I want to highlight right away would be your abilities. Are you using your abilities off cooldown? Why or why not? There are some abilities in the game that by and large you're going to want to basically use off cooldown. That increases your actions per minute, and the more actions per minute you have, that's the more total utility that you're putting forward for yourself, for your team, and that the enemy team will hopefully have to answer. Now, there are a ton of abilities where you're not going to want to use them off cooldown. You're going to want to use them to cancel other abilities, or to save yourself, or to cancel an ultimate, or there's a myriad of reasons as to why you would want to use an ability off cooldown or not. Your job now is to understand, okay, do I need to use this off cooldown or not? And how do I understand that when I'm in bronze? This is when, on the rare occasion when I would suggest in bronze, to look at and see, okay, literally just type in top 500 and whatever hero it is that you want to learn to get good at, and be hyper specific on what it is you're looking for. Don't just mindlessly watch them. At that point, you're practically watching Netflix, and it's fine to just watch your favorite gamers play. There's nothing wrong with that. But type in top 500 gameplay of whatever hero it is and look at, okay, I want to know, for example, for these Monstro spawns that Namor's using, do I use those off cooldown? Is it situational? Is it something in between? How do I go about using these? Where should I place these at? Should I be peeling for my team? Should I use them more aggressively? Should I be using them on the flank? When, why, how, all of those questions. Who, what, when, where, why, all of that, right? Now, I will say, I peeked ahead here. This particular Namor player, which is why we have things hidden, and we're not going to be toxic in the comments, by the way, because we're all learning here, right? And just take that into your personal life as well. Just don't be toxic. This person threw squids down the first 2 times I saw them play squids. And if I had to guess, just knowing that this is bronze, they probably did this for the majority, if not all of the match. And that's okay. We're learning here. This is something, again, that you can take away. And this is for, you're going to play this to any hero. We just don't have time to cover every single hero in the game. But think about this for a second. Now, we zoom out. Is this person actively really engaging their brain and thinking right now while they're playing? Not really, no. This is why they're in bronze. They placed both of their turrets down, their squids here, and where are they at? They're behind these walls, these pillars here. Can you see my mouse? I think you can. Look, they're behind these pillars. Like, these pillars are covering, like, what? I don't know, 50% of their effective targeting that they could do, because you have the card here that's going to be blocking a ton of stuff, and you have this huge wall up here that any heroes that are going to be hiding behind. These turrets are offering no value unless there's like a crazy Black Panther who is way hyper overextending over here or something, which is not happening. Now, you do have this overextending Angela, and that's another discussion that happens in high ranks right now, even because nobody knows how to play this hero just yet. But that's a different discussion. These turrets are not offering optimal value. What this Namor could have done here is simply place these turrets up here, like on the corners, right up here, not on the inside, on the outside. You can't, imagine that my mouse could like pass through this little lip here. That's where you could place turrets. Just for example, place them up and out of the way. You would be shocked at how much value you can get from that in literally any rank. Any rank. Don't just throw them down like to where they're not getting any value, or for where the enemy team can easily see them. They're probably not going to be answered anyway because it's in bronze, but think about this. Now, again, you're just sitting really far back here. This Namor player is sitting super far back. If you are to hard carry and to take control of the game and take control of your destiny, and you're the playmaker, look how far back this Namor player is. And you're not moving your mouse or your, control stick, since this person's on controller. This is offering like negative value to your team. This is not how you use this kit. This is not how you actively engage, especially as a duelist. And someone like Namor, there's a time and a place when you want to be looking back for your team, but this is just playing way too far back for a Namor player. And we're highlighting this because you might think that we're exaggerating here. Again, this is a real game and these are real players. And look, they just plopped their squids down again in front of the enemy team on the ground where every one of their grandma can shoot them. They're super easy to see. And again, they're still not going to really be adding any value because you have all of this nonsense right here again. So again, really awful utilization of the Monstro spawns here. And it might sound like we're nitpicking, but I'm just trying to highlight, no matter what hero it is that you're going to be playing, I can assure you, let's click on this Cloak and Dagger here. This Cloak and Dagger is toast at this point. I didn't look ahead past this point. I would imagine this Cloak and Dagger is going to die because she's super out of place. Her team's not protecting her. There's an Angela right on top of her here. There's not a lot of hope for her here. Now, she did bubble herself. She actually might end up winning, which is great for her. So fortunately that Angela overextended, but Actually, let's go ahead and I was going to move back over to the Namor, but let's just stay on the Cloak and Dagger here. This is another issue, and this happens in even higher ranks too. And if you learn this now, you're going to be in a really good spot moving forward. This Cloak and Dagger is actually trying to do a little bit of damage here in dagger form, unfortunately, and just kind of being a payload princess. If you want to take the game in your hands, and you're a Cloak and Dagger even, or a Luna Snow, or any kind of a strategist, don't play passive. Don't let them come to you. Go on the offensive. Now, that doesn't mean always frontline, but be thinking of ways of how can I farm my ultimate? How can I get to an off angle and deal more damage? Build my ultimate. You have one of the strongest ultimates in the game as a strategist. You can swing team fights because you're able to heal your team, or you can do like like a hybrid type of a deal. Like if you're an Ultron, or now a Jeff the Landshark, where you have the big healing pool residue, we'll call it, once you get that off. There's a lot that you can do as a strategist, even on the offensive, more than what you think and more than what the vast majority of players play like. Now, why did we bubble here? I have no idea. I actually have no idea. The enemy team has no divers on their team other than the Angela, who isn't on top of this Cloak and Dagger. So this was preemptive here. Another showcase. This was just a wasted ability, and it might end up coming to bite her in the butt here in a minute. So you could fade away, which this Cloak and Dagger did. This Cloak and Dagger is actually a half decent player here for a bronze player. Now, why did we die there? Well, there's a lot of reasons why you could have died here. So rewinding a smidge here. So all of this was okay. Now moving forward, like I don't know what the game plan was, to be honest here, of blinding a diamond form Emma Frost. So you're going to be right on top of her, and she doesn't even need to know where you are, and just use her grab ability, and she's going to get you, which is exactly what happens here. And then you get punished for the majority of your HP here. So, I mean, half your HP. So you're forced now to use another ability, one of your get out of jail free cards, and then you opt to stay on low ground here, again, on low ground, and you don't have your bubble because it was wasted previously. So there were multiple abilities and decisions that led up to this point, and you might think, my team's not peeling for me, they're not helping me. This happens all of the time in every rank across the board. So remember that a lot of times it's just the decisions that you're consistently making that lead you into these impossible scenarios. Take control and mentally think, what can I do to better myself? Now, yes, could the team have maybe stood in front of you, been focusing that Emma Frost, who was technically overextended at that point? Yes, to all of the above, of course. There's just going to be countless number of games in any rank, I promise, in every single rank, even the top 500, you're going to have times where you're like, dude, my teammates just aren't helping me here. Sometimes you have to take the bull by the horns, and you got to do it yourself. Now, let's see it from the enemy Emma Frost point of view here, because I want to just make sure that we're covering all roles real briefly here. So, again, you're probably going to be playing all kinds of different heroes other than the few that we showcased here. Now, where is our team currently? If you're Emma Frost right now, where's our team? I have no idea. I mean, a whole entire video, I'll try to remember to link that one above as well, where we break down like how to actually improve as a tank in Marvel Rivals. I think that one's exceptionally valuable because it's one simple point. Like, and I think I might have broke it out into like 2 or 3 different points, but the most important takeaway from that video was literally turning around and turning around often in the game. There's so much information that this Emma Frost is missing out on now because she simply didn't turn around. Where are my strategists at? I have no idea. Are they going to be able to heal me? I have no idea. Are they actively being attacked? Are they being dove on? As Emma Frost, you are responsible for peeling for your team often. Now, you have an Angela on your team who you know is going to be diving, probably way over diving, and you can see right here that's absolutely what she's been doing, and that's what she's going to do moving forward. I can just tell you again, and that happens in every rank currently. But as Emma Frost in particular, you're the only like kind of shield tank. Yeah, Angela has a shield, but that's another discussion. You need to peel for your team. You need to be protective of them. And again, you have to assume that the other tanks on your team, especially in bronze, don't know how to properly play their role, their hero for that specific comp, for that specific round, right? So what do I need to be doing? I need to keep tabs on where my team is. Now, it's okay you're being a little aggressive here. You might be trying to get the kill on this Cloak and Dagger, and that's all well and dandy. Now, whenever she gets out of dodge here, you're already dead. Like, because of the turrets here, because the entire enemy team is able to hyper focus down on you because the rest of your team is looking back here at 2 enemies. The rest of your team is looking at these 2 enemies and everything is completely out of line of sight. You walked into a death trap and you didn't turn around once. So that's the reason why this Emma Frost failed to do her job here. And you might be thinking, where's my team? Why isn't my team helping me out here? It's because you actually set yourself up for failure. Do you see like how you can flip the script and really attack how to do VOD reviews yourself on your own gameplay and try to pick out one thing. If you are doing VOD reviews, I wouldn't recommend doing a ton, especially in bronze, just play the game, get more reps in. But even if you do, and I would only recommend if you're playing like a half an hour a day, like review 1 VOD after you're done playing for the day, review 1 and give yourself like a 10-minute timer. Don't overdo it. Don't burn out. Keep this game fun, especially in bronze. Like make this is sacred. Like we want our bronzies to enjoy the game and to grow up and to become Sylvies. Am I right, everyone? So yeah, so that was just, that happens to everyone, but this one didn't have to happen. Okay, now here's the real secret. Time, investment, and just plain caring. I will tell you, the type of comments that I get on my videos are a lot of people who are stuck in like Platinum or like Grandmaster or Celestial or something like that. And that type of player, they're already going above and beyond in that they're looking at guides online. How do I improve at this? The average player, and again, especially in bronze, they're not going to be looking for something like that. They're just looking to play something like maybe a Call of Duty or just a shoot 'em up game where you just go on and you play. The name of the game here is not to kill the most amount of people. How many games have you played where you lost but your team had more kills? So there's more to it than that, right? How are you using your ultimates? How are you pushing the cart? Is the enemy team stalling the cart? Just simply play the game more, and not in a sassy way, but use your brain more. Think about, okay, why am I using this ability now? Do I need to use this? Should I be using this? Do I use this off cooldown? So-and-so pro or top 500, they used this off cooldown against a very similar comp. Maybe I should try that and see how that works out for me. Okay, that didn't work out. Why? Where did I go wrong? Oh, I died a lot. I died more than I killed other people. How did that happen? Was I overextending? Probably. Did I ever turn around to see my team? Did I do it enough? Probably not. Okay, I would be sad if we didn't discuss this for the bronze series now. And I'm gonna try to bring this up in other series too. And it's how to like kind of actually play Marvel Rivals. And again, I'm trying to keep this a little bit shorter, under 3 hours. Again, there's so much we have to try to unpack here in bronze in particular, because there's a lot that might not be understood just yet. Okay, so in this game, you're gonna have Domination with the point in the middle, and you're gonna have Convoy, which is the cart where you have to move it across the map past 3 separate checkpoints. For the Convoy maps, know that when you have no one on the cart, as long as it was last controlled by your team and you're the team that's pushing the cart is going to slowly move forward. If you have one person on the cart, it's going to move faster. If you have a second person on the cart, it's going to move faster, up to like 3 or 4 people. It's not that important. And there are diminishing returns after you have just one person on the cart. Like the biggest bang for your buck per person is to have just one person on the cart, but the cart moves fastest at like 3 or 4 people, wherever it caps out at. So keep that in mind. Another thing as well, for those pesky enemy Captain Americas or those Mr. Fantastics or whoever are on the point, on the convoy, on your convoy, they are going to be stalling the cart. When that happens, your cart is not moving forward, and it's incredibly easy. And this happens, I would say, up until maybe like Diamond. You start to kind of consistently see people be more aware of this concept, but not like always consistently. It's just more consistently around Diamond. It's kind of crazy how high you can get in this game without really understanding just the basics of this game. So if someone is stalling the cart and you're trying to move the cart forward, if someone's stalling it, they are actively inhibiting your progress in the game. You need to take care of that problem, hero. Now, if it's someone like a Captain America and you can't really kill them because he keeps getting healed, then you're going to need to take out that enemy Rocket or that enemy Loki or whoever's keeping him up in that moment, right? So really think about that. Really think about, okay, there's only 22 seconds left and none of us are on the cart. We can get to the cart in time, but I need to know, okay, maybe I shouldn't use my Luna Snow ultimate immediately when we get there because it's probably going to go to overtime and start checking down. And when that happens, I need to make sure that I can keep my team alive. Now, yes, whenever we get to the cart, plans may change. They might pop some ultimate and I need to keep my team up again immediately. And that's maybe my responsibility as Luna Snow is the only strategist ultimate that's up in that given moment, perhaps. But you don't need to think about this too much in bronze in order to go from bronze to silver. Now, if you want to go from bronze to celestial or something like that, absolutely, you're going to need to keep this in mind more. But to go from bronze to silver, you really don't need to know much about the mechanics of the game outside of simply just playing the game more. And you will get lucky enough with all the chrono shields that help to where you don't get D-ranked for I don't even know how many times. It's a lot. And you can gun your way all the way up to gold by doing this, like through gold. That's a lot of progress that you can make for freezies. Now, for Domination, it's similar in that whoever captures the point, they get it up to 100%. That's the team that wins. Now, know at the very beginning of the match, whichever team captures that point first at the beginning, in particular in bronze, often that team will win because they captured it first. They just have momentum. The very first point goes to them. That's really easy percentage points that they can get, and it takes time for the enemy team to regroup and come back. And if you're in bronze, there is a very slim chance of your team rallying to come back. And this is where I want to also highlight rallying with your team. If you don't have a mic, well, if you have a mic, you can just verbally say, hey guys, let's regroup real quick. Let's reset. There's a couple of us that died. That will move mountains for you in any rank. Now what you might be thinking is, okay, well, I don't have a mic. If you don't have a mic, just type in the chat, hey, let's reset. And again, this won't apply to every single round and not everyone will listen. A lot of people have the text comms off, the voice comms off, they have everything off, and they might even just be playing with half their monitor on at times, or their monitor's just completely off, it seems like. And you're going to have games like that. But that's okay, because we all have to deal with that. Everyone else in bronze has to deal with that. Everyone else in top 500 and everywhere in between. We all have to deal with that. So that excuse, and that's really what it is, it's an excuse, that excuse is irrelevant because we all have to deal with that. There's nothing you can do about controlling someone on something that is outside of your control. Doesn't it sound silly when I say it out loud? But I get a lot of comments like that still. So control what you can control and tell your team what to do. Not in a condescending way, but just say, hey guys, let's reset real quick. So if you're going onto a point and you know that it is now 6v5 in your favor because one of you got a pick on the enemy team, it's 6v5 in your favor. Push that. Take care of the point now. Take care of that point. And if you are a Vanguard, consider moving forward and making sure that your fat booty bump is on that point so the enemy team doesn't get it just for free. When it's still 6v6 at the very beginning of the match, as a Vanguard, do not let them take that point for free. Do not let them take that point for free. Now, your team might be so far back and you're not taking enough space by just simply walking forward potentially, like to where you may die if you do press forward. Now, don't just stand on the point to your detriment to where you know you're going to die because your team doesn't have eyes on you because they're getting dove by Black Panther in the back. That does need to be addressed, and you'll need to address that, and maybe the enemy team does get the point for a few seconds, and then you take care of the Black Panther and all of your team is up, whereas now they're down a Black Panther, and now you can go into the fight and they only have 2% captured, and now you're going into that fight in a 6v5 scenario. You see how we're looking at this now. I would say the vast majority of bronze players do not play around this, do not think this way, do not do this. It's just a difficult thing to do in the moment when you're like, oh goodness, click on the movie Black Panther, he's bouncing everywhere, where's he at? Okay guys, so there is so much more that we could unpack, which is why you should subscribe and watch all of my other videos and join the Discord too. It's free and I answer questions in there too. But just know, you probably need to play the game more. Adjust how you mentally approach this game. It's not like Call of Duty where you just kill a bunch of people and then you just end up winning. You actually need to think about, okay, are we moving the convoy? Did we capture the point? Why or why not? Are we rallying and not just endlessly in this endless loop of where we're feeding and not grouping up? And are you saving your ultimates to counter their ultimates? Do you have an ultimate where you know you can get a key kill or two every single time or consistently? Especially in bronze, you need to figure out, okay, I watched my favorite top 500 player play this hero. Here's how they use their ultimate. They just used the ultimate of the second that they got it. I'm going to try that, see how that works out for me. Or, oh, I noticed Luna Snow, this top 500 Luna Snow, she always saved her ultimate for whenever the enemy Psylocke ultimate used her ultimate. So now I'm going to try that because this team has an enemy Psylocke. I'm going to save my Luna Snow ultimate for that. Now you know that. Now you can provide so much more value for your team rather than just using your ultimate after you've already captured the point in the middle and it's 6v3 in your favor. Why are you using your Luna Snow ultimate? Think about that game, the game in that way, and I promise you will see progress. And on a really serious note, I don't want to get into the specifics of the dark week that we had previously in the beginning of September. I did know that I had a calling with this channel, that I wanted to share the gospel. There's a reason why this channel's name is Prophet, and I thought, what's a cool way to start introducing some of that into my videos, into my content. And last week was a shining light, a beacon, some good that I can take away from that week of how I can share that with others. So now I'm drawing a line in the sand, and this is when I'm going to be speaking out a little bit more on that and sharing that with you guys. So I want to say thank you so much for all the support on all of my videos. I really appreciate all the members, all the people joining the Discord, all the really nice comments we get. Like that's what I really want for this channel. I want people to just not only improve in this silly video game that we all enjoy and have fun with because it's Marvel and it's superheroes and we're nerding out together and we're improving and getting better, but I really do want you guys to get better at life too. I want you guys to crush it at school, at your work, with your family, at home, just getting better. Maybe you are a little bit depressed. Maybe these videos help cheer you up, or maybe just playing the game and making some friends or sharing stories is what you need to move on, to get to that next day, to get to that promotion that you needed, to give you the motivation you needed to succeed at whatever it is that you want to get better at, that you want to excel at. I want you guys to crush it at life. So I want you guys to know that you are loved, that there are people that do care about you. I do pray over my subscribers. I hope you do the same for me. I really appreciate it if you do. If you would, I would have really appreciated it if you took a pledge in the comments. This is a really simple thing. If you could, just real simply in the comments, just say, I am no longer going to be toxic, or I am not going to be toxic. You're not going to be toxic to that toxic teammate who is in the chat spewing nonsense, we'll call it, in the game. You're just going to mute them and move on. You're going to say a prayer over them, hopefully, and move on. You're going to say nice things always, because you do reap what you sow, and there is difference in people, and you know when you see the light in someone, and that's why we have this sort of channel slogan now, is be the light that you want to see in the world. Like, whenever someone spits on you, your kind of natural reaction is, you know, I'm going to spit on them back. I'm going to punch them in the lip. What are you doing that for? Like, no. We're actually called to just turn the other cheek. And there are times when I don't want to do that, but especially in this game, it's really easy for me to just turn the other cheek, look the other way, or to just say something nice about someone. I get all kinds of mean comments online. I've been making videos now. This isn't bragging at all. There are lots of channels that are bigger than mine, but some videos that have gotten tens of thousands of views and plenty of comments, hundreds and hundreds of comments now, too much to even keep up with. And there's quite a few negative and even just downright toxic and hurtful comments too. People making fun of my hair and the way that I talk and just saying I'm dumb. Just all kinds of nonsense, right? But instead of resorting to violence back to them, or just muting them. Sometimes you have to mute some people like that because there's just you don't want to deal with nonsense just to deal with nonsense, and there's nuance around that. But sometimes those people are really hurt. Like hurt people hurt people. So sometimes to change their life and their trajectory, literally in life, is to just say something nice to them. If they say something hurtful, and just be like, hey, I like your profile picture. Maybe you like their profile picture. I've done that before. Or to say, hey, I can tell you're clearly educated. Yeah, it's the little things, and sometimes that's all it takes. And if that's all it takes, then I'm willing to do that. Be the light you want to see in the world. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and watch my most recent video where I break down the easiest to hardest duelists in the game to climb right here. Until next time. My goodness, my DMs are a poppin'. Sucks being popular.